Okay, so you have put your all into putting this blog post together, whether it's a written blog, whether it's a video-based blog or an audio-based blog, it doesn't matter. You've done it, you've put your blog out into the big wide world, you've pressed that publish button. Now what do you need to do next? Now, because you put all that energy and effort into this blog post, you owe it to yourself to do a really good job of leveraging that content for days and weeks and months to come. Now, there's basically two categories of things that you need to be thinking about once you've published your blog post. Number one is you need to tell people it is there. Sounds simple, but so many people publish a blog post and they go, whew, done that. Thank goodness for that. When in fact, you need to be proactive about letting people know your blog post is there, okay? So that's the first category of things, and we'll talk about that in a lot more detail. And then the second category of things is you need to be watching. As soon as your blog post is published, you need to watch what happens, because that is going to tell you and give you valuable information about what you should be doing more of and what you should be doing less of. So you need to tell people it's there, and you need to watch what happens. Okay, so let's talk about telling people it's there. I've got 6 things that I want you to do every single time you publish a blog post. 6 things, because this is going to really amplify the sound, the noise that you can make around this new blog post that you've published. Okay, you've put all this energy and effort in, you owe it to yourself, and you owe it to the people you've written this for, to let as many people know as possible that it is now live and it's there for their delectation. So let's go through those 6 things that you need to do once you publish your blog. Number 1, you need to post on social media. Now, that, as I said, that isn't one post on Facebook, all right? What I'm meaning here is you need to look at the content of your blog post and you need to create some quotes. You need to take some little snippets of the headlines, so you can recreate the headlines from your blog post into images, and you can take some of the images, the actual images from your blog post, and use those as posts on social media. So there's 3 kind of different kinds of posts you can create from your blog posts. So you can do quotes, you can do headlines, and you can take images, and they're really quick and really easy because you're literally just copy and pasting in order to create some content that can go out on social media. And that will work brilliantly for the likes of Twitter and LinkedIn, Twitter and Instagram. If you're posting on something like LinkedIn or Facebook, you could do with slightly more information. So you'll need to write some words for each of those posts around that. But you need to be doing that the minute your blog post goes live. Now, the way the Google algorithm works, if you're hoping that your blog post is going to show up in the search results, the way the Google algorithm works is the more traffic you get as close to the time it's published as possible, that is crucial. So you need to be posting your social media posts as close to the time that it gets published as possible, so you're driving traffic to that blog post as it's fresh, as it's brand new, and Google will really, really like that, and that will really help the ranking of your blog post inside the search results. And post those as posts onto social media. Do that today, the day you press play, the day after, the day after that, the day after that. So the first week that you have your new blog post live, you want to be posting something every day on your social media platform and telling people. Do it in a different way. You're not just re-churning out the same post, you're doing a different post, but the same messages. Hey, my new blog post is live, okay, and you can learn this from it, or you can learn that from it, or here's a headline that might attract people's attention. Okay, so number 1, post on social media. Number 2, email all of the people on your emailing list for whom the blog post is relevant. So that could be your referrers, if you've got a good relationship going with your referrers. It could be your existing patients if you feel your existing patients could benefit from reading it, or it could be your potential patients if you've got an email list that you're developing of potential patients, or it could be all 3. You could be sending your email out to everybody, but email as many people as you can for whom this post is relevant and say, it's there, it's live, here's the link, go check it out, and give them a teaser. Don't tell them the whole story, otherwise there's no point for them going to look at the blog post, but give them a bit of a teaser. as to why it's important that you think they should go and look at the blog post, what they could learn, how they could benefit, what the value is in that blog post for them, so that they're tantalized enough to click the link and go and have a look at the blog post. So email is number 2. Number 3, share in online groups. Now, this is a delicate subject and you have to do this very carefully. You do not want to jump into every single group that you're a member of, whether that's on LinkedIn, whether that's on Facebook, whether that's on Pinterest. You don't want to jump into all of those groups and just plaster everywhere this thing that you want to share. Hey guys, my new blog post is live and I think you'll really love it. All right, you need to be selective and you need to maybe do it on a bit of a rolling program as well. So I'm in a few groups, online groups, that I know there are significant numbers of the same people in some of those groups. So I'm not just going to blast my blog post is live in all of them with the same message, the same image, because they just like glaze over. Oh yeah, there's Jill again. Okay, so do it selectively. Use different images. So we've talked about creating different images for social media. So use different images over different times. And do it in groups where you are allowed to share this content. Now, bear in mind, your blog post should not be about selling a service. This should be helping. Remember, know, like, trust. We're building know, like, and trust. And so your blog post should be about helping. So people shouldn't be that objectionable to you sharing this stuff inside groups, because this is content that is helping. You are not at all talking in your blog post about selling any services. So inside those groups, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Pinterest, you should be okay. But play by the rules of the group. Don't piss people off, don't get blacklisted, don't get kicked out. Play by the rules of the group, but do use those groups as a means for sharing the fact that this new blog post is live. Okay, so number 4, the 4th way of telling people about your blog post is in the post. If you have referenced an author, if you have talked about a specific product, if you have talked about another local business or another therapist, or if you've talked about anybody else in that blog post, as soon as you press publish, you should be writing to those people to say, hey, I just want to let you know I've just published my latest blog post, and in that I have mentioned the fact that and just let them know that you have mentioned them. And if you do that via a post on social media, there's a good chance they will at least like it, if not add a comment or share it. So tell anybody inside that you have mentioned in your blog post that you've written a blog post and it includes them. Okay, so that is number 4. Tell all those people about your blog post. Okay, and number 5 is think about your waiting room traffic. Think about those people who are coming through your practice each day and sitting in that waiting room. If you provide Wi-Fi, or I mean, people are really happy to use 4G nowadays, so it's worth putting a poster up each time you publish a new blog post and say, hey, we've got a new blog post, here's our website, here's the web address, this blog post is all about, and it could help you if, and just tell them why it's got value in them going to search it out and read it. Okay, so you could do that. You could put a poster up and encourage people to actually go digitally to that blog post, or you could print off some hard copies and have them in your waiting room so people can pick them up and have a big sheet on the front that says our latest blog post, and then give the title. That's the front sheet, and then they open it, and there, or on the back, there is the printout of the actual blog post. So you could encourage people to read your content, raise awareness of the fact that you have a blog post, educate your patients at the same time. It's not as good as getting people to go to look at it digitally, but it's still doing a job. It's still educating, it's still helping people, and as I say, it's just letting people know that you have a blog, and then later weeks, months, they might actually go and look at the blog themselves. So printing out a copy is not a retrograde step with your marketing. It's actually a great thing to do. So think about number 5 is your waiting room traffic. And number 6, the last one, is I want you to think about creating internal links inside your website. So once you've created a blog post, think about where else inside my website would it be relevant to drive people to this blog post. So as an example, if your blog post has something to do with here's a great example. So this blog post, for me, is all about what to do once you've published your blog post. And I've previously written 2 blog posts about preparing to blog, how to set the background work and how you should actually write a blog post. And so I'm going to go back to those old blog posts, and from those blog posts I'm going to link to this new blog post. So have you got other blog posts on your website, or have you got pages on your website that if somebody is reading about X, so if I've got a page on my website that's all about blogs, can I then at the bottom of that go, if you found this page useful, you might also like to read these blog posts that I've written about blogging. All right, and for you it might be about a pathology. You might have a page on your website about a specific pathology, and your blog post might be relevant to people who have that pathology, and so you can link from the page in your website to that blog post. So number 6 of telling people it's there is creating internal links inside your website so that you can direct traffic from existing pages and existing blog posts to your new blog post. So those are my 6 top tips for telling people it is there. So number 1, post on social media. Number 2, email all of your email list and let them know you've just published a new blog post that's relevant to them. Number 3, share inside online groups. Number 4, tell those that you've mentioned in your blog posts that you've talked about them. Number 5, think about your waiting room traffic. Put up a poster and print out copies and let people know you've just published a new blog post. And number 6, create some internal links inside your website so that you can drive traffic from other pages and other blog posts to your new blog post on your website. Okay, so now we are going to talk about watching. We've talked about telling people it's there. The second thing that's really important that you do once you've published your blog post is you need to watch. So what on earth are you watching for? So there's 2 things you are watching for once you publish your blog post. Number 1 is you're watching for comments. You must keep an eye on that blog post, because if people are commenting, they're going to expect a reply. They could be asking questions, they could be saying fab blog post, awesome, really loved it, learnt a lot, all of that stuff. So watch like an eagle or a hawk for comments that pop up on your new blog post, and respond quickly, respond in a timely fashion. It's no good going back 3 months later and going, oh gosh, somebody asked us a question on that blog post. Watch. As soon as you publish a blog post, keep watching. And your website can be set up in a way that it can tag you automatically and ping you an email to let you know when somebody has posted a comment, so that you know you can go in straight away and respond. But you have to set that up in many of the website systems. So make sure that system is set up. Make sure you are watching for comments coming into your new blog post. Okay, and the second thing you need to be watching is your analytics, the numbers. This is going to tell you how many people have visited that blog, how many people have read that blog or some of it. Look at the data. If you've included a video on that, look at the data for the video. How many people have watched some of it? How many people have watched a third of it? How many people have watched all of it? Look at the data. Look at the data of the social media posts that are relevant to that blog post. Have people commented? Are people liking? Are people sharing your content? Because all of those things are going to give you an indication that the thing you have done is good, or the thing you have done is not so interesting. And so that will help you take sort of decisions in the future about the kind of content, the headlines you use, the subjects that you cover, all of those things. If you look at the data, the analytics from your social media and the analytics from your website, once you've published a blog post, that will tell you what you should do more of, and that will tell you what you should do less of. And that is really powerful information. So number 2 is watch your data. Okay, so hopefully that has given you a lot of things to think about the next time you press publish on a blog post. Now, if you are watching this anywhere else than at jillwoods.com, I suggest you go to the link in the text below here and hop over to jillwoods.com/blog, because that is where the conversation will be happening around this blog post. I hope you found this useful. I hope you've learned something from it. I hope there is something in there that you can apply in your practice that will help you get better results and better leverage on the blogs that you are publishing. Until next time, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the same place next week.